The 2-5-1 progression has its origins in tonal classical music and can be heard as an extended perfect cadence. Cadence is closed phrases, sections of music, and entire musical works. Of all the types of cadences, the perfect cadence is the strongest and comprises a dominant chord moving to a tonic chord. In the key of A major, for example, a perfect cadence involves the dominant E chord moving to the tonic A chord. An extended perfect cadence, or 2-5-1 progression, is formed when the dominant chord is preceded by the supertonic chord. Because the notes of the supertonic, dominant, and tonic chords contain all 7 notes of the key to which they belong, each key is fully defined by a 2-5-1 progression. In this way, 2-5-1 progressions can be used in a variety of ways. In most music, 2-5-1 progressions occur as part of a cadence, as part of a longer progression without any cadential function, as part of a secondary progression to a diatonic chord, and as part of sequential passages. In jazz, 2-5-1 progressions fulfill all of these roles. However, because the first 2 uses are fairly self-explanatory, I will only focus on the second 2. Any major or minor chord may be preceded by its own dominant or diminished chord. Along with this basic secondary function, the secondary dominant may also be preceded by its own supertonic. If we take this progression in C major, for example, and precede the submediant A minor 7th chord with its own dominant 7th, our progression now includes an E7 chord, the dominant of A minor. We could also precede the submediant's dominant chord with its own supertonic, thereby creating a secondary 2-5-1 progression in A minor. Notice that because the 2 and 5 chords are taken from the key of the chord to which they resolve, in this case A minor, the structure of each secondary chord is as it would be in that key. In other words, all necessary accidentals from the secondary key must be included in the secondary 2-5 progression. In this example, a G sharp is added. To extend our C major progression further, we could also precede the supertonic D minor 7th chord with a secondary 2-5 progression. Doing this adds the notes B flat and C sharp, the accidentals from the key of D minor. Sequences may use various chordal combinations. However, here I will only discuss those using 2-5-1 progressions. In music, there are 2 main types of sequence. The first is the harmonic sequence, where the chord pattern is repeated while the melody is either varied over each repeat or remains the same but is moved to different pitches to follow the harmony, and the melodic sequence, where only the melodic shape is repeated while the chordal progression may vary. As we saw with the harmonic sequence examples, however, there is typically a combination of both melodic and harmonic repetition involved in most sequential patterns. In jazz, both harmonic and melodic sequences are found. Often, the sequential 2-5-1 progressions simply follow on from each other. In this example, the tonic of the first 2-5-1 progression is changed to become the supertonic of the next. Notice in this type of sequence, the tonic root note of each 2-5-1 progression descends by a major second. 2-5-1 progressions may also be joined in a series. In the following sequence, each 2-5-1 progression is connected. The C minor 7th, B flat minor 7th, and A flat minor 7th chords are both the tonic chords of one 2-5-1 progression and the supertonic chords of the next. This chordal duality is a common means of creating 2-5-1 sequences where the tonic root notes again descend in major seconds. Because parallel major and minor keys share the same dominant, both major and minor keys may be included in a sequence. In our example, G flat major is the only major key, although the dominant D flat 7th chord could have also moved to a G flat minor chord, the tonic chord of the parallel minor. Sequences have a transitory sound as several keys are suggested. As I mentioned earlier, however, because the notes of the supertonic, dominant and tonic chords of each 2-5-1 progression contain all 7 notes of their respective key, each key is fully defined even when rapidly passed through. In this way, a sequence may move between 2 chords belonging to the same key. In this example, it connects the tonic and submediant chords in C minor, or it may modulate to a new key. In this example, the sequence moves from the key of C minor to G flat major. Two-5-1 sequences may be modified in a number of ways. The tonic major or minor chord, for example, may be changed to a dominant 7th chord with the same root note. In this context, the tonic dominant 7th chord can be heard having a secondary relationship to the dominant of the following 2-5-1 progression. Here, for example, the tonic C dominant 7th chord can also be heard as the dominant of the F 7th chord, the dominant of B flat major. Another common modification involves tritone substitutions being added to the sequence. Along with this typical usage of the tritone substitution, the interlocking tonic and supertonic chords can also be modified so that the tonic of one progression is treated as the tritone substitution of the next. In this example, the tonic C minor 7th chord becomes a C dominant 7th and is treated as the tritone substitution for the F sharp minor 7th chord, the supertonic of the E minor 2-5-1 progression. The tonic E minor 7th chord is then similarly changed, becoming the tritone substitution for the supertonic B flat minor 7th chord, the supertonic of A flat major. Using tritone substitutions in this way is an effective means of breaking the sequential pattern of tonic root notes descending by major seconds. In this example, each tonic is a minor 6th or augmented 5th lower than the previous. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.